like this podcast is great. Like I hate everything, and I listen to our podcast. I'm like, this is good shit.
Having personal transformative events and sharing that on this podcast, in the sense that people are coming along with our journey and are being inspired to see and confront themselves also.
Yeah, and I really appreciate how much you guys show your heart on the podcast.
And you guys are fun and you're funny. You guys don't know how likable you are as a collective group.
True.
The big hormone enneagram.
Hi, I'm John Lukovich, sexual self-pres, over the 5-wing, 458 trifix.
Hi, I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual 9 with a 1, 974 trifix.
What up? It's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing 7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I am a self-pres social 3, wing 4, with a 369 trifix. If you like our podcast, guys, make sure you go like and subscribe on the Apple Podcast app. And if you really like us, you should definitely leave us a review. Don't I look pretty today?
You look drunk and pretty.
It should be the other way around.
Drunkly pretty.
So I don't look pretty?
You do look pretty.
Thank you.
But, you know, when somebody asks, it causes a wall to come up, you know.
Wow.
Well,
that you don't give a shit about me.
Yeah.
You obviously don't think I'm pretty at all.
No, never have.
Nope.
Never put the moves on you.
Nope.
Never intimated anything.
Nope.
Yeah, have y'all been getting lit?
This is my second drink.
I'm lit.
I'm working on it.
I'm on my third. I'm on my third beer. So.
What's everyone's drug and alcohol plans for the evening?
Mine is just alcohol, mainly gin.
All right, so I'm doing vodka, mixed drinks. I've had half of an edible.
Nice.
And I mixed some ginseng in there, and I'm considering half of a mushrooms chocolate.
Damn.
I took a little bit of mushrooms, and now I'm drinking.
That's not a bad combo.
I'm trying to decide. I've got edible hot chocolate, and I've got mushroom chocolate still.
Ooh.
So we'll see if I get there. For some reason, I'm lying down.
For some reason.
How odd.
I'm going to get Alexandra. See if she'll just get out here.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh, no, not her.
Oh, no.
Oh,
we were really not looking forward to you joining the call, but alas, you're here now.
We begged John not to bring you.
It was like, can you make sure your floof girlfriend does not join us for this call?
The repugnant social type.
The fluffy 9 cloud that is Alexandra.
Could you put in a little bit of effort towards being here? Get up.
Beth, have you been drinking properly?
She
or
has
doing
not.
anything?
No.
You just always seem like you have been, though.
Is that a good thing?
It is a very good thing.
Coming in. Our sweet little 9, just being sweet.
Yeah.
Beth just always seems like she's been drinking.
Wow, David, you can compliment Beth, but you can't compliment me.
I thought I did compliment you.
No, you didn't, though.
I said you look really drunk. I mean, that's a
No,
compliment.
that is not a... I came on and I videoed immediately, and I asked him if I looked pretty. And he said...
I said he looked
pretty
drunk.
Pretty drunk.
David!
You can be nice to Beth, but you can't be nice to your long-term partner over here.
Well, you know, you haven't committed to me, and you know how I am about commitment.
No, you...
It's deeply important to me.
Beth, what's it like being with a 5 fixer?
It's annoying, isn't it?
Well, I probably know more about microphones than I ever wanted to. I'm trying to go to bed. Hey, listen to this.
This Beth Emeka situation is a 5 fixer relationship problem.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
I think I've asked him several times, Is this what 5 is?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome
It's not
to Big Hormone Enneagram. This is our annual ritual of getting plastered together via Zoom and talking about the year. We're joined with special guests,
Me, Alexandra.
and
Beth.
so we just we're closing out 2021, which was an incredible, beautiful year for everybody. And we have a few plugs. Buy my book, buy David's Trifix booklet, do the Dark Arts Academy, and what else?
donate for audio equipment. We've already raised $110. Thank you to those who've already donated to helping us sound like professionals.
Keep sending in the masturbation videos.
Yes.
The nudes. Keep sending in the nudes.
Yeah.
PayPal
Okay,
us.
you're a little
Thank
quiet.
you.
Okay, PayPal us some money at bhepodcast@gmail.com, and you can Venmo us some money at EMEKV.
And just let us know if you want feet pics or not.
Feet
Yeah.
pics. Yeah.
You'll have David's feet
No.
pics.
You gotta-
With me grunting as an audio.
In the background. Just a live photo of going,
Ugh. This is our fucking second year of doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I don't believe it.
Feels like you guys are
it's
finally know what you're doing.
it's finally. Right?
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, well, I was going to make the joke that David, during the Bhava Chakra episode, came prepared with some preparatory studies.
Yeah, I mean, at
Notes.
the end of the second year, I finally was ready to do the podcast.
So he was right on time.
Yeah,
A queen is never late. Everyone else
Yeah.
is simply early.
that's it. What can I say?
And if any listeners can tell me what movie that's from, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, it's interesting that the
No,
most
I know.
unlikely people to do a podcast were doing a fucking podcast.
For real. Now I remember. I mean, I think I brought it up at maybe the last IEA that we were at together.
No, well,
Like 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
2019 Chicago was the last time. Was when you were like,
Mm,
we need to do this, and so we were like, all right, the only roadblock is we need to find somebody to host this show with, and then it happened in November. We started recording.
And we found Nancy,
And it was the best birthday present you could have ever given me.
the best gift. It's really the person that everybody they listen with blue balls, hoping that Nancy
Nancy
will say
blue balls.
something.
It's so true. Please give Nancy space.
Centering
Safe space.
Nancy's voice.
It doesn't exist.
But this year was pretty cool because I remember listening to our last like New Year's podcast in line to get a COVID test like last January. Like, yeah, I don't know. I remember listening to it, and so at Christmas last year, like I fell in love with Alexandra last year in September, but like I really realized how deeply in love with her I was around Christmas. And so I remember listening to the like end of the year thing, and I just remember like thinking about like
Bored.
how like how different my life was going to be from now on, and listening to this podcast while I was in a COVID line. And I don't know why that comes up, but I also like, you know, this year has been like very transformational for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've been coming up with so much cool fucking shit this last year that no one fucking else is talking about or has any, you know, that's like not just big for the Enneagram, but like big for like human psychology that no one else is talking about.
Yeah, I think sometimes what people don't realize is that we're living and experiencing the Enneagram. And that's the reason these insights aren't coming from us just sitting and theorizing. We're experiencing things, and we're trying to understand ourselves and what we're experiencing. Like, just think about this year before we did the soul intercourse episode, and how that sort of started a whole domino effect of us getting into attachment. And,
Right.
you know, just
That started the intercourse.
yeah. Exactly.
Is this the climax?
Back and forth.
Oh.
Beth went in there and
And out and in and out.
She penetrated all of us.
Hit the back walls.
Released her insights.
Released all the seeds.
She painted our
blossomed.
walls with insights.
Yeah, the Beth experience is what really created the friction that generated all the creativity of this
The
podcast
friction?
for last
We
year.
want friction? I don't know
And
if
I don't even
friction is
speak.
what we want.
It's pretty powerful.
It's magic. Sexual social magic.
But like a lot has changed this year. I remember early this year, people were like a lot of people who've been typed as attachment types had posted in the group and like, I don't understand. I know that I'm an attachment type, but I don't understand what attachment is. And so to look back on 2021 and, attachment is this like invisible thing that no one can see. And we've done so many episodes to uncover what attachment is, and just look at the number of people who now know what attachment looks like. And it's not this mysterious thing anymore. Like that's a huge shift that's happened this year. And that came from, we've done so many episodes on attachment.
We have. We've dug into it, and you guys are welcome because I have had to dig into myself, and I didn't appreciate that.
And so you've really taken one for the team this year, as
Yeah.
far as being the voice of the collective.
I'm used to it. I'm used to getting railed.
Used to
It's fine.
taking it
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like this year has been I don't know, it's been like we've all been living the Enneagram basically, like what you said, Emeka. It's like that we've all been like really having a lot of big personal transformational confrontations with ourselves through various things in a way that like I don't know, I don't feel like there's been another year that's been so much of a self-confrontation that I've ever had in my life. And I feel like similar for y'all, or some of you, at least some of it. It's been a real self-confrontation, and thinking like even I don't know if from a listener point of view that we've been giving Blind Spot as much as attention and weight as it's had on me, like in terms of trying to understand my blind spot and the effect that's had. But like that's been a huge theme this year. Is like, even though I wrote a fucking book on instincts, like still seeing how blind I've been in a blind spot is keeps pounding me over the head daily.
Yeah. That one podcast, it's like 2 or 3 podcasts ago when we were talking about it was something about we were talking about blind spots, weren't we? Like 3 podcasts ago. And I noticed how like John, you can write about social and I can write about it halfway occasionally. But when it comes to actually like talking about it in real time, like we're fucking social blind.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what the fuck we're even saying. And it's so, Alexandra's roused us on that before. It's like, we don't even know what the fuck we're saying when we start just trying to freeform on social. It's just like, what the fuck? There's nothing there.
Totally. Well, part of before we got on this call, I had a big freak out with Alexandra because, I didn't feel special.
Right.
But it's like, basically like, because I can't see myself as a person.
Right.
And like I like that just like the sense of me as a person and not as just like the fulfillment of I don't know, like that I'm not just a fucking exchangeable thing is like really, really present for me. But I didn't even see the extent of that until this year was like really showing me how much I just considered myself to be like I see myself more as an absence than a presence, if that makes any sense.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, the soul intercourse episode was a big deal. I'm just remembering now how much of it was a big deal to really see myself as a person in terms of what my sexual chemistry, the impact that I was having. That was a big deal moment, and I remember that episode being one of the most the episode that got people to respond more than anything we've done in a while. So many people were triggered by that. And because so many people were triggered by that, it set off a whole bunch of trying to understand why people were triggered, that which started the whole Hacksad versus attachment thing. And I'm looking back on how that episode started a whole chain of events that brought us to a point where we could really understand attachment. The hexad versus attachment. But just looking back on the year, having personal transformative events and sharing that on this podcast, not only life-changing for us, but it's like life-changing in the sense that people are coming along with our journey and are being inspired to see and confront themselves also.
Yeah, no, I mean, like what this makes me feel very strongly as we're talking about it is that we all need to like hang out again in person real soon so that we can fuck our shit up.
Yes.
Oh, the next thing I was gonna talk about is all right. So we did like soul intercourse was a big thing, and then hexad versus attachment was a big thing. Blindspots were a big thing. Some new stuff we did in the pod was the Baba Chakra stuff, and then like my book stuff.
Well, y'all started with the Michael's teachings. Y'all kicked off the year with Michael's teaching.
Right.
Oh yeah, I will say a pretty cool part of my year was doing a past life regression with Michael. That was pretty cool.
Oh,
You didn't talk about that. Tell us about that.
Shepherd?
I mean, yeah, with Shepard. Sorry, in my head, his name is.
No, but I mean, it was with Michael.
I mean, yeah, kind
if
of.
we're real believers.
Are you? Are you believers?
I am. I'm a I believe in everything.
That's true.
right.
That's true. Yeah, it was very cool. I think part of past life regressions is sort of suspending your disbelief. Like you just have to.
Mhm.
There's no way you can prove, so you just sort of have to be like, well, lean into it. But I think the only like physical proof that I got was I had like full body tremors the entire time.
Whoa.
Which was pretty intense. But I didn't have anxiety. Usually if I have full body tremors, it goes with my anxiety. Like that's a big panic attack. But it wasn't anxious. It was like I went back in time to a life I had in Scandinavia.
How long ago?
A long time ago.
What were you? What was happening?
I was a
Were you
boy.
a chick or a dude?
No, I was a boy. I was a little boy. I ran away from home in Scandinavia, and I lived on the lam and throughout Europe. It was a pretty exciting life, and I think that's actually what solidified my choice to go into science, because I really wanted to. So there were like colleges studying science at that point, but it was like early science. So I don't know what time period that puts it in. But they were all in like Paris and like
Oh, that's
stuff.
interesting. Like
And so I didn't-
Renaissance, maybe, or something?
Maybe, yeah. And so I didn't have access to those schools, but I really wanted to study science then. And at that point, when I had this past life regression, I wasn't 100% sold that I wanted that. And so what this regression kind of solidified was that I wanted to go into some form of academia, because I didn't get this in a past life that I was connected to.
Interesting.
For a dork back then?
Yeah, I was a dork back then. I married this cute chick from like Germany somewhere. It was cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name? John.
I don't know.
Johanna?
I have no idea what her name was, but she was hot. Yeah.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah,
Do you
very
recommend doing past life regressions with him?
I think it helped solidify some choices that I was feeling pulled to, and as a person who like doesn't trust my own intuition, I found it really helpful to find that like in other lives I was pulled to it as well.
Interesting.
So that's, I can't speak to other people's experience, but I found it helpful for that.
So Alexandra is looking at, or actually, before I say that, 'cause she's looking at all the episodes we've done in the past year. What stands out to you?
I mean,
after
everybody
you're
knows what mine is.
listening and participating on this podcast.
As I imagine, I'm going to share this with Beth. I'm going to take credit and again, I will share it with Beth for a lot of this attachment versus hexad participation, as I know that being in relationship with me and with Beth has confused the shit out of you two. And so in attempt to understand us, you've been motivated
And
to
it continues to
understand
this
attachment.
day.
It does
Yes,
not stop.
yes.
It does not
It will
stop.
be a nonstop confusion about how attachment works. And so I just want to say you're welcome for that.
Thank you for confusing me so much that we generated so much content.
I have to say that another favorite part of my year was listening to you guys fumble through relationships.
Oh,
It is the
You liked
most
that, didn't
adorable
you?
shit. I would regularly go to my friends and be like, "Oh my god, there are actually okay men in this world. Don't give up faith. Don't give up faith."
we're actually trying.
The way you guys hype each other up, it's adorable. Just little squishes.
Yeah, squishy man.
You just
Just
want to
little
pinch their
squishies.
cheeks.
Yeah, just want to pinch your cheeks.
I know, these useless beasts are just soft little smushy whooshies.
Shut the fuck up.
That's hilarious.
Thank you.
You're embarrassing me on my
You're
podcast.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
And we also have to say shout out to all the haters.
Yeah.
We want you to know that your hate nourishes us and has inspired a lot of the insights that we've gotten on this year. Particularly that whole concept of the parasocial relationship. Shout out to whoever you know who you are, who introduced that phrase into the EUBHE consciousness. That helped us connect some dots on why are these people who we don't know so fucking pissed off about a podcast episode. Really initiated us into trying to understand, okay, what is attachment?
I want to shout out to all the Enneagram teachers that listen to us that steal
That
our
hate
shit
us.
without proper attribution. Hey, thanks for listening. And eventually the
We
people
see
that you're
you.
teaching will come back and listen to us and hear that like years ago we were talking about that shit before you were. So
And it just so happened that your posts perfectly line up with our episode releases.
yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Very strange.
Looking for new content.
How bizarre.
I get people all the time being like, "Hey, I think so and so might be listening to your podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is not news to us.
So and so is teaching this, and they're
Oh.
teaching it with a new perspective or emphasis,
Mhm.
and it seems to coincide with your episodes. So, we hear.
Pretty suspicious.
I hear so many people listening to the podcast, like the lady I had talked to about IEA stuff, because my whatever panel was fucked up. She was telling me that she listens to the show. I was like, I'm just surprised, but yeah, everybody knows about us.
Yeah. I also want to say, I want to shout out to Emeka for teaching on the Enneagram Global Summit. That's a pretty big deal, I think,
I still need to see that. Yeah.
and you were great.
Thank you
Like-
very much.
You're a natural fucking teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that, but I was also kind of like, oh man, this is a little bit different setting for what Emeka kind of does normally, and you fucking killed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did. And the contrast between you and the other three was also hilarious.
Hilarious.
Bright
I have
eyed,
not watched it
wide
yet.
smiled, and soft impressions despite typing at 4. Emeka just here to deliver some fucking facts. And he delivered.
PowerPoints. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
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 Organization.
Where can I see this? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I think I have both the video and the audio. I would not recommend the video, but
Yeah, you
Oh,
get
I-
to see Emeka in the closet.
Yeah, but I want to see the other people.
Yeah, I'd also say so. Like that's a pretty big. Like there's a lot of people that are like see that shit. So like that's a
Yeah.
pretty big deal. David, how did you feel about releasing your Trifix book this year?
Oh, that was good. It definitely helped having your intro. Being the person that I am, I just imagine that people can just look at the images and the words and absorb it all and just, I'm so hyper non-context, that I just assume everybody's sort of in my mind and approaching it the same way I am, which is hilariously wrong. But but yeah, no, that's been good, and I've sold a bunch of them too, so it's been
Good.
great. And there's probably still some updates that I would do on some of the verbiage and some of the phrases and things I've used. But yeah, that was cool. That was one of those deals. For some reason, I got a fever and kicked out that thing in about 10 days and just did a
Nice.
productivity mode for
Yeah, line to 3,
for-
baby.
for some strange reason. But yeah, no, that was good. Yeah.
Imagine living there.
No, I won't.
I think doing something like that in the future, where maybe like more material and I can do a context thing or something like that, would be really good.
Yeah.
Like to keep moving that forward. And yeah, like if you're listening, buy the fucking Trifix thing already. Like you have no fucking
Yeah,
business
it's
to be listening to this
amazing.
shit, all this free shit, and not buying anything. So fuck you and buy it.
Yeah.
No, and those
Stop being a
episodes, and the Baba Chakra episodes narrowed down sort of the focus of what I'm doing with my book. And so that's been really helpful because I was throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, into the book,
Right.
and so I just need to kick out the basics, the 4 elements, the Baba Chakra stuff, and some of my other, basic ideas, the animal symbols, snake, pig, rooster, and some of those things, and kind of just generate that basic ecosystem, and then more can come from a second book, that kind of thing.
Definitely. Yeah, so obviously I released my book this year, and it feels good to not have to work on that fucking shit anymore. And I know that there's a lot of spelling errors and different things like there's errors. Like I recorded reading chapter 4, for eventual bonus episode of this podcast, and like reading through, I was like, oh man, God, there's just so many fucking mistakes.
I've made it through 3 or 4 chapters, and I kept wanting to make a note of a typo to let you know, just because I bet they're all over the place.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. I had so many editors too.
Yeah, dude, that was a big deal. I know how long you've been working on that, and to finally get that out there, that's like a lifetime achievement. You're an author.
It is.
Yeah. No,
Written a book.
I want to say too, I mean, that's the new book that everybody needs to have, that updates, replaces, properly revises all the Riso Hudson stuff, and that's the new standard to me. So everybody needs to get that book.
Yeah. That's the new Enneagram Bible, and it's clear to anyone who reads the book that this is like, you put a lot of research and development.
Knowledge.
This is something that you didn't just shit out over a couple years. You had to refine. You had to become a better writer. You had to have people to clean up everything that didn't seem clear. I mean, it seems like you took a couple years just to edit. I don't know if it was that long, but it seemed like a long time. So I mean, just the amount of work that you put into that is really admirable to actually get to the completion point, and that's something that you can be proud of. You can be proud of for the rest of your life, man. You put out a very serious Enneagram book.
It also gets to, the what do you do once you discover your type, which is always a thing,
Yeah. So I've read the book cover to cover, and what the difference that I have perceived from that book, like versus all the other books, is exactly what David said, that there is an application. There's like a productive, here's what you do with this information, versus like all those other books that, they have information and insight, but it's essentially just like a long BuzzFeed quiz that tells you like what you are, and then you don't know what to do with the information. Where John's book really does give you like this is, and like his type, I'm jumping around, but like even his full type is spelled out very clearly in the writing of his book, because there is the 8 sort of push of like, do it, face it, and then there's the 4 of like, here's like the misery that you need to face. This is the motivation as to like for why you need to get with the program. And then there's the 5 element of being very well researched. Like he knows what he's talking about. And there is that sexual push that just draws you in and makes it very, like I've heard more often than not, I've heard people's experiences with the book that they read something and then have to stop. Either because they need to be able to digest the information, or because it gets so like emotionally overwhelming. You know, and maybe there could be like a sexual element in that too, that it becomes like, holy shit, okay, I need to take a break for a second and recalibrate to be able to get through it. And myself too. Like, I face this man every day, and still with that book, there were points where I had to put it down because it really fucking fucks you.
Hard to fuck.
So there's my review. Buy the fucking book. Face your fears.
I love you. Thank you.
Be mind fucked.
Yeah, get fucked by John. Read his book.
It's a lot of people's fantasies, so.
And buy the fucking book. That's the only way you're gonna get to.
No, I really appreciate it because it's like sales are like okay, but like I haven't promoted it all because I don't know how because I'm incompetent, all that kind of stuff. But it does feel like something I was like supposed to accomplish, and there's still a lot of flaws in it and a lot of work to be done. And like I need to like just go back and work with my graphic designer, just like do certain corrections and things like that. But I've been in this sort of numb space of like I don't know what comes next and kind of looking for that. But I feel like all the four of us core here, and Courtney contributing, doing some kind of something with object relations eventually. I want to do like an intro to the Enneagram book that kind of replaces a lot of the stuff that's out there. There's a lot of different directions to go, but I think that even just the four of us could like co-author a really good intro to the Enneagram book that's like, drawing from some of the wisdom of David's like Trifix booklet that has some visuals.
Right.
That kind of like, what if somebody could actually read an Enneagram book as an intro and like actually know the types instead of it being like, oh, you get an intro to the Enneagram. Now it takes 4 years for you to deprogram what you think you've learned and kind of get a new sense of what actually these things are.
Yeah. I'll say in addition to that, as a listener, I know I've been on a few times, but as primarily just like a consumer of this podcast, you guys have produced so much this year. Like, it's kicked off with the Michael teachings. You guys are leaving off with the objective personality stuff, but like the attachment versus hexad has been such a strong like birth that you guys have had this year. And so I guess I'm coming in with like a 9 sort of healing, take your time to recover and rest thing, because you guys have truly like birthed something very big and very strong. So I guess I'm saying this in response to John's book having come out, and David, your booklet having come out. If you guys find yourself in a sort of postpartum depression or whatever,
Yes.
like be gentle with yourselves, because you did just birth something really great and really grand. And that goes for everybody else on the podcast. Like, this has been a very productive year in terms of content and like intellectual progression. So anyway, that's my piece. My piece is to be nice to yourselves.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that there's something like we went pretty heavy this past year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wouldn't be surprised if we lost some listeners because we were going so heavy.
Ever since we started the pod, I've noticed a shift in the group because it's attracting people that are hungry for more specific, deeper stuff. And so ever since 2020, we've gained some really cool members, like Xander, for example. This dude's like serious as fuck about the Enneagram and has a lot of cool insights. And I've noticed even in 2021, that's even continued even further, because ever since we started doing the soul intercourse, that things got serious quick.
Yeah.
So that changed the tone of, I think, the kind of people that are attracted to the podcast and attracted to the group, because that just, like, this is not just some shit that we're fucking around with. This is something that we're living, and not just learning about types and typing yourself, but this is about self-transformation. And people who have been coming to the group and because of the podcast just are coming with a similar intention, or at least influenced by that intention. And that's been really cool to see.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's refining our niche. You know what I mean? It's the people that are the real converts, so to speak. To our approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like the hexad versus attachment really brought in a new crowd of attachmenters who want to like really dig deep into what attachment is and what it means, instead of just sort of staying in the goody happy land of attachment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is a good shout out for Courtney.
Yeah.
Also,
Courtney.
who's been
Yeah,
attachment
Courtney's been amazing.
house mother.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, maybe I always remember the episode where Courtney came on and Nancy basically, I don't know if this is saying too much, but like comforted you on being an attachment type and being
Yeah.
it is our work to not attach to the hexad reaction to attachment. Especially because this is, run by a lot of hexad fixes and types and stuff like that. Shout out to Courtney for keeping us little attachment chicks just nurtured and loved. And also just like, no, blasting. But I know that, damn, what was I going to say? Now I just nined out and lost it. But I guess just to piggyback off of oh God, I'm getting drunk. Off of what Nancy was saying. And I do think that there has been like a new wave of attachment types coming in. And specifically, there's been a new wave of attachment types coming in to own their attachment. Yeah. Which I think is super fucking cool. Because not only have they been owning it, but they've been really empowered in doing that and helping other people own their attachment too. Like we're always going to run into 9s that think they're 5s and 6s that think they're 4s, and stuff like that. And I think that it is with the work you guys are doing that more attachment types are going to like spread that message and like do that work of like, hey, there is like a really potent strength in being attachment. Just own it. Like just as strong.
It's not just being confused and stuck in the Bermuda Triangle. There's a lot of really deep, intellectual, interesting parts of us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also like with the Dark Arts Academy, we're discovering and showcasing some of the attachment types that, people have revered as being hexad types.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it turns out a lot of them are attachment types, like a lot of the greats and people, people that are worshipped as innovators and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my attachment kings and queens. That's been like really cool because one of the things that I've seen people say online is that like, at least speaking for myself, that people will be like, "Oh, John is talking about attachment to make himself feel special as a 4 or some shit," or there's not a 4 stuff, which is fucking David's fault, comes from my like 4 supremacy or something. And no, it's like, first of all, 4s kind of suck. And there's a lot that is like that people value that belongs to attachment types that gets continuously attributed to 4. Right. And so like just trying to like clarify 4 and 9, I'm with the 9 for a reason. I love me some 9. And there's so much there that is really rich, and the suffering I see in like 9s, but attachment types in general, is not seeing their own value and seeing their own gifts. And so it's like we all value actually what attachment brings. And so what I'm hoping through all the not a 4 stuff and through this podcast of this is that attachment types can see themselves a little bit and can see like, Emeka and I are these hexad boys with no fucking hexad or no attachment types in our structure.
How that is a problem for us.
How that's a problem, and how like both of us have suffered a great deal for that. And we create suffering because of that. And our types, no matter like all of our types, like everybody like is an asshole and you gotta like watch out for everybody. But at the same time, like everybody is suffering and they're creating suffering from their own suffering. And so at least like this attachment versus hexad thing, like I'm learning all these ways that I was not adaptable. And didn't know I was not adaptable, and didn't like I'm not sitting there thinking like I'm resisting everybody. Sometimes I am, I'm 4, but like there's ways that I just was like not aware of how human beings did things, and it had to completely do with my cutoffness and how much suffering that's created. So I'm hoping that like attachment types that listen to this stuff, because there are a lot of attachment types, and that's not a fucking bad thing that there's a lot of attachment types.
It's a necessary thing.
It's necessary. Yeah. We would have no relationships without attachment type. And so they can see themselves and see their strength and own it, and not fall prey to like some of the like the issues that we see when we confront the not a 4 stuff, which is not feeling unique, not feeling valued, all this kind of stuff that comes up for, I think, especially attachment types. Is that like this is a podcast that in a sense is like has been about valuing attachment types for the last year.
And even last year, we did Making Nines Great Again. So it's funny that people would think that you have something about trying to make yourself feel better by talking about attachment. It's like we literally were the first and only ones to talk about we need to make nines great again. And hopefully, I mean, doing all these typings and trying to understand people through the Enneagram has been this thing of realizing that if you want to understand human beings and what it is to mean to be human, and then you need to understand attachment. And we were so in the dark about attachment, and that's been such a huge motivation to not only understand attachment types, but if you understand attachment types, then you understand human beings.
Right.
Also, for the people that think we're arrogant or whatever, we've said it before, but I mean, this was like a humbling learning experience. All of it, all of that attachment versus hexad stuff. It's like, oh my God, you got to see us kind of get hit with this tidal wave of revelation about how vastly different worlds these were.
Yeah, and I really appreciate how much you guys show your heart on the podcast, because I feel like you could easily just talk about this from like up here, your little intellectual space, and instead you really get into the nitty gritty like with everybody else.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the soul intercourse episode. People came in to say, "Oh, it's really brave to put yourself out there and be vulnerable." And I didn't really see it myself being overly vulnerable, because for me it was like what the insight that I gained from that experience was too big not to share. Like, how would I not talk? And it's not just my experience; it was pointing to something much larger than me, and which is the whole point of this podcast. And so, yeah, on one hand, you could say it's putting yourself out there, but it's like I'm living this stuff. Anybody who listens to this podcast or follows the group has to at some point realize, like, this is not a fucking hobby. This is actually my life. I'm trying to confront myself and grow and develop with my friends with what we're doing. And so my lived experiences are going to feed into this show, obviously. I want people to learn from what I've learned.
This has been such a laboratory for kind of contextualizing all the bullshit in my life. And like, also I want to say, a couple weeks ago I had like a major fucking betrayal, and it's just sort of the icing on the cake of a whole bunch of things falling apart, and like it's all related to my blind spot and all this other stuff. But and I'm including Alexandra in this, of course, but just like y'all have been so there for me and shown me what real love and friendship and connection are. And it's been a real learning process of like what's fake connection versus what real connection is. My former best friend, like I didn't question them in a naive way. And there was signs all along that there was bullshit. And then I was betrayed in a really monumental way. But then with y'all, like that made me think, like, reevaluate all the relationships I have in my life, right? Like, oh, I'm so fucking naive. But reviewing with y'all, there are no red flags. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to evaluate that, but it's like I know I can trust you guys, but it's just instinctively. And, there's a certain heartbreak in like when you have like a naive idealism that, oh, maybe there's no place for this, like something that feels precious to be in the world in any way. And so I know with the people here that actually exists and can be in the world, and it's not where I thought it could be, but I'm getting a clear picture of where it actually can be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I love you, fucking idiots.
We love you too.
Love you too.
I also want to say shout out to. We just did an episode about their system, the objective personality people. I want to say shout out to them because it's not every day you get to see people who are in a somewhat similar field who are taking it seriously and like putting in the work, also have great intentions to self-develop, and are also not afraid to do original things. Seeing them do their thing, it's just a couple pumping out videos every week and seeing how much people are responding to them. It was what inspired Dark Arts Academy in terms of, hey, like we've been thinking about teaching typing for a while. We can make weekly videos.
All right.
So just seeing that, I just want to say shout out to them because they work hard, and all the bullshit that we've kind of had to deal with all the people drama, they've shouldered that shit and they've been doing it for 5+ years. It's like, doing original work in the personality typology field. Shout out to those guys. It's just not easy.
Yeah. So what are their names?
Oh, David and Shan. That's their names.
David and
Hopefully
Shane.
they'll be on the show at some point. But yeah, they deserve some props because somebody started a group. What was the name of the group? It was We Hate OPS? Something like that. Like a group
Wow.
That's
specifically.
Respect.
I know, right? And I was like, what is the difference? What's going on? The thing about them that's admirable is that they are really nice people. I think people don't come for us because they know there's nothing stopping us from meeting them in the comment section to blow their whole shit up. We're not above that. But they're generally like pretty wholesome, nice people, and I think people maybe feel more emboldened to take shots at them. Whatever.
This podcast is made up of tier 1 Delta Force commenter operators that will annihilate the comment section.
Fucking annihilate. I remember fucking idiot had commented about the pod in some group saying that we were disgusting or something, and I already had information on the guys, so I just went in on his whole existence. No, you're disgusting. So that's actually a compliment to us. Thank you for your hatred.
So I have to use the bathroom, but I want to ask you guys when I come back, or I'm putting that out there because I know it'll escape my drunk brain, but I'm pretty drunk. But about dark arts, I want to ask about dark arts and how that experience has been. So
oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, I also need to watch the dark arts stuff.
Yeah, we need to get you in on the.
We can get you free membership.
I don't think I've seen any of it.
It's pretty good stuff. You're missing out.
It's so
I
good.
obviously am missing out.
Yeah, we heard that people had a watch party for the Christmas special episode.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see people actually responding to it and really being entertained and educated by it. And this is just what we do on a weekly basis. It feels really good to have that going.
How do you guys? This is a repugnant social type question.
Repugnant.
How do you guys feel about the social aspect of doing Dark Arts Academy? Because Joseph is very social and he's making you guys show your faces, and you guys seem to have a good chemistry between the three of you guys. And I think that's as a social type, I think that's part of the appeal in watching you guys just fuck around and talk shit and just play with each other and type these people.
I mean, appearing on video is just one of the challenges I've set for myself to get over it, because if we can, just doing video is not, doing the follow-up sessions, it's still kind of every time it's oh fuck, but I need to get over it, because doing this podcast was similar deal where it's man, I'm going to be recorded, and then eventually a couple months later it just felt natural. So I know that I'll eventually get there with video. So yeah, it was initially uncomfortable. Just, being on camera is not something I desire. But that's the thing with Joseph. He's been pushing us in those social ways, even starting the group. None of us really wanted to do that, but it worked out. Eventually, we'll be comfortable with being on video. The podcast and that has been wow, I didn't know people actually gave a fuck to this degree to want to
Crazy that people want to hear you.
Right.
What?
Yeah, shout out to Joseph, especially, to both for EU and the Dark Arts Academy, because me and Emika are just so kind of separatists, and just to realize just the stupid social last thing of not even realizing that 3 people working together would get a better product, so to speak, and more accurate. And, just working with people is going to increase and augment, what you're doing and just make it all better. You just don't even realize that as a social blind, and especially when you've got, hexad types, I guess, or whatever in the works there. So, but yeah, I mean, and it's been an adjustment for me, of course, as well, to be on video, and you can still see that with my lighting style.
See, I've come a long way. I've come into the light just a bit more.
I'm working my way towards the light.
Are you
towards
still
the
in
sunlight.
bed?
I'm not in bed.
Oh
You
my
never-
god! I don't
That's
think
a
I've
huge
ever
step.
seen you
Yeah,
on camera not in bed.
I actually am on camera, and I'm sitting in a chair. I'm actually
You're upright.
I'm upright.
I
look
am
like
shocked.
a person. I look like a person.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, biggest takeaway from David's monologue is that he realized other people can actually have a positive impact
On his existence.
on his existence.
It's amazing.
Oh my god.
You should see my DMs. You should see that one.
I don't want to. I would get jealous.
Yeah.
I would like
that's
to
kinda
invite
fun.
all the women to attack David. So
Yeah,
women,
no.
come out of everywhere. Give this,
I am David.
Facing 9 your attention.
Blow up the DMs.
I am
David
David's
Gray.
pimp, so you must give me money first, and then you can attack David.
Yeah,
That's
I've
a
got.
good plan right there.
Well, we need
I
to
can-
wash
I-
out some of the shitty attention you get, David. So
Yeah, exactly.
let him have it.
Better attention, yeah. 2022, we're upgrading the attention David gets.
Yes.
I'm having fun, so I'm not like, oh, we need to wrap up the episode or anything like that. But thinking in terms of episode, things I would like to talk about is like both what it's been like this year working together, and then future ideas or projects or hopes or whatever. And I'm including Beth and Alexander in this. It's been really fun being with you guys and working with y'all. And it just feels like we get deeper and deeper, and it's like kind of like on one hand, to me it feels like our strengths come out more clearly. And so this is kind of funny. There was a group chat that Alexander and I were on with these fellas and ladies that developed prior to our relationship. And so like one of the things that like I'll say is like I've never had any kind of sense of rivalry with anybody, except that I would see that Alexander would laugh at Emika's jokes and she'd make a laugh react, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like my joke
What
was
does
funny.
she think she's doing?
How
Yeah,
dare-
before there was anything romantic, there was just this like thing of like I gotta make her laugh, and like a lot of my interaction was like gotta make Alexander laugh, and then I would like check everybody's like messages or whatever to see
That's so social.
The reacts.
to see their reactions and be like, and she'd always react react to Emika, and I was like, I was like, but Emika's funny, but I mean he's like not that funny, you know?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Why did you think Emika was funny? You know, anyway. But besides that, what I'm getting at is that I don't like I've seen a lot of people try to turn us into rivals. I don't know if
Really?
you've seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, like trying to like make some drama about Emika and I being like 458 trifix or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
okay, yeah.
With
I
David
guess
and
people.
I even like I've seen people make little like accusations or like little like digs or little like things and like try to like make us all rivals, and it's like I feel like as we get deeper we see more clearly like what we all bring to each other,
Right.
and
Yeah,
that
for
there's
sure.
an irreplaceable quality that we all have with each other.
Mhm.
And like if one of us was to like fuck off on the podcast would die.
Yeah. It'd be
It wouldn't
very
the
different.
same, yeah.
Be very
And
different.
so it's like it's great working with everybody, and I was listening to the Objective Personality podcast the other day, and like can't remember what you said, Emika, but you were like, yeah, I take whatever the fuck David and John say and I make it usable. I was like, yeah, that's what he
There you
does.
go.
Yeah.
And then we were like on that same podcast, I think we were joking about how people were like so thirsty for Nancy
Right.
because she like humanizes and renders it like real,
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
And then like
yep.
David and I have like different intuitive whatever it is like
Right.
where we come from, and and then like Emika, you've got just this like like you're always looking at utility in a way that's like how do we shape this? How do we bring this to something? How do we move it forward?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a
Super practical Virgo Mars.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like being a bridge because you do have to have some kind of intuition, but how do you ground that intuition in something that people can actually use and like an experience that somebody can actually do something with?
And never mind his ridiculous editing skills.
Yeah, no, exactly. I wanted to say that too. Is like for people listening, like no one has any idea how much work Emeka does. Like I don't even know how much work Emeka does, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't even want to know.
No one wants to know. Only Beth knows how much work.
Like a full day, isn't it? 8
It
hours.
is a full day. I mean,
It's a full week.
she was always counting based on how many days where I'm like, I can't. I'm editing. You know, like days where we can't do anything because I'm editing. But I mean, it is a labor of love because this is something I care deeply about, obviously, and I want it to sound good. And also, there's this feeling of putting out something that you know people are going to listen to 100 years from now. You know, like, and so there's a sense of like this is our life's work. So I want it to be good. I want it to be something that I like listening to, that everybody else that was on it likes listening to. So
comes to mind immediately is that like overlap between Self-Pres Social and 8. That you have this like very practical edge to you. You've like in a lot of ways, obviously the content is like split between all 4 of you, but in a lot of ways you're the one that's actually like materializing it by doing all of that editing.
Right.
But like, I mean, I remember, David, do you remember our episode together where we were both mutually like, this is not going to be usable?
Yeah.
We're both just like,
he's probably going to throw this in the trash can.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you're both just like nining out the entire time. And like, we both mutually, I think separately, but mutually were like, this is garbage. And then Emeka made it into something that made sense.
No, and then I listened to it and it actually was good.
Yes. that is some 8-5 stem magic.
Yeah, so I mean, like even for the sake of listeners, like we gotta figure out like how to like make some money with this shit. But like
we have to.
Yeah, like send Emeka some money, specifically like label it
solely
Emeka. Because
he does all the work.
He does so much work, and
we just show up once a week,
and none of us could do it.
Yeah,
like we're so fucking useless.
Oh, I would never be able to do it, and it would take me 6 months to do one episode.
No, it would take longer.
I wouldn't be able to find anything
2 years,
useful in it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "There's nothing
have
useful."
to come prepared for the episode, David.
It is kind of a cool experience to like actually, well, because it's hard for me to even remember what we talk about, but then actually go back and listen to it. As hard as that is for me to do, to go from like, all right, and then get to something where it's like, I am really enjoying this conversation. It's pretty cool because the before and after, I see it every week. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but I know that on the other side is people that are not just to have the information, but I have like the experience of hanging out with us, which is like, this is what it felt like to be in that conversation.
Yeah, you have such a like a artist ear. And
You do.
Another element to this too is like for some financial tax something or other, I had to like go through and calculate how much I made this year, and I was like really like, oh my god, like just abysmal. And the way things are so unstable, like I can't imagine myself in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like how things are going to go, like nothing makes enough money, everything's getting more expensive, the world's collapsing, environmental change, all this kind of stuff. And so, like, there's a lot of books out there that suck on the Enneagram. And there's a lot of, there have been a lot of trainings, and some of them are very expensive, and they still suck or have the wrong information. And so, there's nothing, nothing replaces, like, actual practice and a certain kind of study. But that we've, like, left this free shit out there for people.
Right.
To put the pieces together is actually like a really important thing, and it could easily be abused, but it is really important. And like that would not have come into birth without Emeka's effort.
Thank you. I take it for granted that this has a huge impact on a lot of people's lives. I mean, a podcast is a big deal to a lot of people. It's not like we have a fuck ton of listeners, but we have a lot of listeners who listen to like the whole thing.
Right.
And we grew more than twice as much. Like, I think it's 2.5x this year.
cool.
It's crazy.
You know, so it's not like we have a huge listenership, but we have a very passionate listeners. Listeners.
I'll
And
be so bold to say that I imagine the majority of the listenership is attachment type.
Yeah.
So honestly, like
majority.
attachment is just a fucking network. So it's just going to keep spreading.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are potent and relatable and just ever growing. I think your listenership is just going to keep growing too.
Help us out,
Yeah.
our attachment friends.
Oh, speaking to that social type, whatever, or social on the Dark Arts Academy, one of the aspects, and I'm just speaking as a repugnant social type, is that one of the aspects of this is seeing when you guys, because you guys all have 4-wing 3 fixes, the 3 of you.
Yeah. Hardcore.
Oh yeah.
So to see you all mutually pause in disgust and then laugh by making fun of whatever you're disgusted by is
Yeah.
just like, it's really endearing, actually. Like, I can't remember what the last one I watched. I think it was something Michael Jackson said. Some airy-fairy bullshit that he said. The 3 of you paused and, like, your eyes widened mutually and you all fell forward laughing. And it was the best. It was the best. And then, of course, there was that little moment where, David, you grabbed your smushy little kitty and dragged her across the camera. And John can tell you, I like stopped everything to get that on recording.
Oh my god, I need to
David is a
see
cat. David is
this.
a cat.
I need to see David as a human.
Yes, to see him
No
be his
way.
little
His
lover.
little smushy self.
Yes, just his little cat lover self.
Mm.
All right, so last thing I want to get squeezed into the episode, unless there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4, 20 episodes, is what we have coming up for 2022 in terms of ideas or projects or anything like that. And I'm including Beth and Alexandra in this.
Beth and I should have a triple hexad roast session.
Oh my god, can I be in on this?
There you
Can I
go.
please be in on this?
We'll make sure that after your roast session is done, then John and I will follow that up with the atomic bomb roast session.
And then we'll go back on and talk about how none of that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, you don't actually understand it. Sorry.
I think, like,
Just kidding, but I'd do it.
Just kidding, but not kidding.
Yeah.
so one thing I want to talk about in 2022, I fucking hate saying that, 2022, is I feel like there's a lot more to excavate around sexuality and like what real present sex is and love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alexander and I have been going through it in terms of trying to unpack what happened with our fucking past relationships and what is going on with us. You know, we both have a lot of wounds from our past, but also that led us to our past. And there's a lot of perspectives that I think that both of us, and I think everybody wishes that they had going in, that I think that the Enneagram and instincts and all this other shit could be a really good lens to explore. That, you know, like real good sex, like sex itself, is rare as fuck.
It's
for sure.
It's extremely
for sure.
rare.
It's why a lot of women even say they're low
They don't
libido.
enjoy sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and low libido and shit because they're not even attracted to their partners, and their partner doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah.
John and I were talking yesterday about how sexuality in men is also not fully embodied by most men.
Right.
How there is
Exactly.
like an integrate, and I guess this harkens back to what Curtis was saying, that there needs to be like an integration of feminine or whatever.
For sure.
I think men can have like a restriction of femininity
Right.
that makes them like not as like loose and fluid and responsive and
And playful.
and playful. Yeah.
So they'll fuck, but it's like from a machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'd be
Yes.
interesting to explore next year. It's kind of like on some level continuation of what the Soul Intercourse
Right.
series inspired, which is like, you know, what is sexuality from a real present place?
I started following all these different sex educator type accounts on Instagram, and some of them are like specifically toward men. Because I was curious, I was like, I'm learning all this stuff about sexuality with Alexandra, and
No way.
it's not true.
Okay, fine, it's true. My sexual blindness was coming out and I got shy.
You're saving this for
Sex
marriage.
we have is
Nothing like this
crazy.
happens. Nope, no sex.
The sex
Only anal.
Alexander and I have is insane.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And so anyway,
Yeah, Brian's about to walk in the door in 2 minutes, and I'm
Is
just
it?
gonna be like, "Hey, tell me about the sex we have."
Alexander, is it?
Yeah. Yes, John, it really is. Don't make me talk about this right now.
So anyway,
Sexual type here, wanting to get some props.
Yeah, going against a social self-pres that doesn't want to talk online about how.
did you see her like shut it down like so automatically? Like, no, it's really normal. It's really, you know.
It's totally fine.
So anyway, the way we lay it down is really amazing. But it's like it feels like it's not just like, oh, we have good sex, whatever. Who cares? But like, I feel like there's a lot of things. Like maybe this is my blaster, but there's a lot I feel like that we've learned with each other that I feel like would be really useful to explore and unpack, and especially around like I was saying, I was following these people on Instagram, and a lot of them are like, men, listen to your partner. Men, listen
Yeah.
to how to like touch her and ask her questions. But it's like a lot of men don't even fucking know their own bodies. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
They don't
don't
know
how
what
to be
they
present
like.
to their own bodies, so that the listening would not almost like land on anything, because it's like, what do I do from my head center? You know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like we have a lot of cool shit around sexuality and like helping people to have really good connected sex that would no other Enneagram podcast would touch.
Alexander, what do you want to
No
add?
comment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I would love to do like maybe like love line episodes where Alexander and I give love and sex advice. Not that I think that we have got it
That's-
figured out, but like I just think we'd be like Alexander's social instinct.
That's exactly what Alexandra wants is
That's
sex
exactly what she
advice.
Anyway, in 2022, I think I want to pressure Alexandra to do some of her like reality TV observation shit.
Oh, jeez.
I think
Yeah, that would be good actually.
That'd be cool.
and I want to
Yeah.
see her do more like I think I want to do a pod where she comes on and does all of the four of our compatibility.
Actually,
Absolutely.
I would do that.
Yeah, that would be ideal actually.
I would do that. I think it'd be fun to talk about how compatible
Uh-huh.
you guys are and what activates who activates who and how you activate who. I've
And-
already looked at I can't recall it now, but I've looked at David's chart with John's.
How
Well,
good
I mean, with
lovers
all
we
of
would
you.
be.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, like I've seen how just like and this was a while ago, so it'd be fun to look at it again, but I was looking at all of your like synastry charts together, which is just
Yeah.
like how you guys activate each other.
Mhm.
And it is pretty loud and accurate.
Oh,
Oh, yeah?
interesting.
All of the
That's interesting.
dynamics.
Yeah,
So it'd be fun to talk about.
No, I'd love to see that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember any of it now. I know that John and Emika's is basically like party town. The two of you are just like expand, activate. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Whereas I'm a more sensual lover with Emeka and John, and I actually care about their needs.
That's
No,
right.
we don't care about
Yes.
needs.
You listen to your body, David.
Any sweet cat lover is going to be a good lover.
Mm.
Right, John?
Right.
A man that loves cats
Yes.
and or cats love him,
Yeah,
that's a good man.
That
Oh,
is that is
Way-
extremely accurate.
way up in the pussycat.
What does it mean if you're allergic to cats, though?
It means you're not a good man.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we already knew that, though.
You gotta love pussy.
Yeah, this is not. You lack pussy.
Hey, somebody's got to play the role of the devil here. The one that makes people stop talking to you and sharing secrets with you because they know that you're connected to Empaka.
Oh, I know what that's like. People have stopped sharing secrets with me. I'm definitely blacklisted because I'm connected to Emika.
Well, it's like it is nice to have this sort of like reputation of brutality because it keeps
Oh,
people in
yeah.
line.
I say that with full pride.
I barely comment, but when it's killing time, I'm there.
Yeah.
You want to talk some shit? I'm gonna be right there.
I knew I was dealing for sure with an 8 with Emeka when we would talk about typing people, and he would call like when you typed somebody, he would call it a kill. So you rack up a number of kills. He would talk about a number of kills. It's like
Call of Duty?
So dramatic.
Oh yeah. Fucking kills, man.
If people knew, like,
Headshot.
I try to
Headshot.
appear. I try to appear like a somewhat normal human being in public. But if people knew the kind of shit that we talk privately and the way I refer to people, they were like, "This motherfucker is a terrible human
Where's
being."
Beth, by the way?
She's
you
in the
hear me?
living room. She can hear. She's here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
There are certain people that can completely derail any effort to be productive or
Yeah.
to progress in any way because they just suck up so much energy. And so I've learned that not just myself, what affects me, but affects the people around me, that certain people have to be eliminated.
Totally.
That's literally, in order for us to progress and grow, certain people have to be moved out of the way.
Totally.
And there are a lot of people, as we grow in notoriety, that are going to want to, get in with us. And you've seen that happen. All the crazy people that want to, like, get in with us in some kind of weird way. It's like, no, somebody's going to make sure that the progression in the direction we're going does not get derailed. That's me.
Did you guys get Nancy to get me on here just to announce to me in person that I'm the garbage can person? Is that what's going on here? Is that what I'm
Garbage
getting?
can? I don't understand.
Amica is still assessing you. So
Got it.
Brian's solid.
Okay. All right.
Got it down.
By extension, you're solid.
yeah.
So I started like the Gurdjieff group.
Oh,
Mm.
And
Cool.
going to those like meetings and stuff like that. And part of what they've been talking about, you can tell that like my group is like a beginner group basically. So it's still very much like a preliminary kind of deal. Where every week we're kind of discussing like questions and whatever. But a big part of the subject matter is like being aware of where you're leaking energy,
Yeah.
of where you're just like wasting like precious energy.
Mhm.
And obviously it's like slow because I'm a 9, so there's obvious like slow whatever there. But as a social 9 that's just like open to whatever,
Yeah.
there is like there is an awareness that I am often open to things that I like know are trash, but second guess myself out of
Right.
being able to like confirm that it's trash.
Mm.
And so like all these weird side
Yeah.
chats that have just happened in the last couple of days, I've been able to kind of practice that as like, no, this is clearly
Yeah,
nothing
shit.
I care about at all
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
happen in this.
Right.
Nothing, I will miss out on nothing by
Mhm.
shutting this out.
And I also think a big thing for me in the last few years is that I've sort of solidified what it means to have the relationships that I want to have.
Yeah.
And when you have friendships like you guys hanging out with OD and the sort of insights and what a good time it is to spend time with those kind of people, the contrast is so stark that you're like, of the short amount of time that we have on this planet, why would I invest time in someone that I know is not bringing any potential of any of the connections that I've come to value now? And so I think, meeting Beth this year and the last couple of years, it's just like made it really clear. If it's not that, don't stick around to watch the fucking horror movie of the shitbag of what this person is going to generate. It's not going to be good. You know it's not going to be good, and you don't have time to stick around to find out. Like, you barely have time for the people that you do value.
Right.
And the people that you do want to spend time with. And just so seeing how valuable time with y'all is just makes it easier for me to say no, to say no to the garbage.
Yeah. I'm just going to say like vulnerability to the social instinct, vulnerability to my dominant instinct. Like, especially as a 9, sometimes I still find myself in this trap of like, oh, this person that I'm kind of aware means absolutely nothing to me is giving me some sort of like social gold star or something. And then I sort of fall victim to that. And I'm talking about these like dumb chats of people that like, if I never talk to them again, none of my quality of life would be missing. And yet I still there's still like something that I get from that I'm like, oh, that's right. instincts are, in a way, like over-identification with instincts is a trap, is bullshit. That's right. I'm wasting my energy on nothing just because it's landing in my dominant instinct. They like me doesn't mean I like them. Doesn't mean they're a worthy avenue of my energy. Yeah, sorry, I just like hijacked that for.
You did great. I love
I
it.
loved it.
I love it. You didn't hijack it at all.
You were terrible, Alexandra.
Fuck you, Emeka.
All right, thank you. That's the only right response.
I do want to say something real quick. Like, finding this group, like, literally changed my life. And then, when I met y'all, it was literally, in all sense of the words, life changing. Yeah. And I'm probably in the darkest point in my life right now, just trying to sort through everything that's happened this year. And I really don't think, I think this odds are stacked against Emeka and I anyway, just simply of how we met and then, immediately got together. But I really feel like that because of the work that you guys are doing, we're able to, get through this and be better people on the other end. I can't imagine anybody else that I would be able to go through this with. But I do appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And I think that it really is changing people's lives.
Beth, I'll say that, like, we've had how many, 4 or 5, 3, 4, something like that, conversations, the two of us, of just like hashing out all of our differences. They've been some of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had in my life. I'm really, really, really super grateful to be going through this with you. Because, like, I know that John and I were like 6 months apart, both of our relationships. There's still just like stuff that every now and then I run into this corner where I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know. Am I insane? And then you and I talk and I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay.
I feel the same way. It's amazing. Yeah, I feel so like, I hate when people say this, but I'm fucking blessed.
I am too. It's been really special. And like, David and I's call where we were both just like kind of confused nines being like, how did everything happen to us? Like, I don't understand. It's been, a lot of the attachment work, and like Nancy, we only spoke for a little bit when we were up in, like with you guys, but even still there was like a resonance that I'm like, okay, thank God this exists. It's not just me. I'm not just like insane.
No, I'll say to all this that, like, I've been in the Gurdjieff work for a long time. I've been doing Enneagram work for a long time. But there's a certain kind of like soul work that you can't go, like, that I've not found elsewhere. That, like, you can do a lot of this being work with the Gurdjieff work, I think, is really about, but your personality is still trying to figure itself out in the world. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about and the tone of our podcast too is like, I know we swear, we make jokes, we are provocative, all this kind of shit. But there's a certain level of like living in this world now and all the bullshit that comes with that this podcast is really good at addressing without needing to have the pretense of pretending to be something else. And that I think that we all really do care about inner work. We all care about inner development without needing to put on the facade of it.
Right.
And so like this year has been really difficult. And like, there's a lot of stuff that just as a purely hexad boy and a purely attachment girl coming together and like how pure our love is, there are so much shit that we've like put shells around that we're learning to open to and trust in each other. It's like really fucking painful and really fucking real. I don't know anybody else talking about this kind of stuff that's like not spiritually bypassing.
Yep.
Or getting into some weird, like one of the things that Alexander and I will criticize is like I see all these different like relationship accounts that are like, relationship is supposed to be a safe, positive space for you. And that's it. And there's none of the real alchemy of a relationship. It's like as soon as you start feeling your boundaries are changing, you should leave that relationship because it's not safe. And it's a little bit like I don't know what the right thing to do is, but the trend these days is a certain kind of like very safe, need to be held and accepted fully. And it's like you need to be challenged in a relationship.
Yeah, I feel like those accounts, and this is where I feel like the Enneagram really comes in handy, is like I see those accounts now, and I'm like, they just want to stay in their safe zone.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to stay in their comfort zone and have the reassurance that the pattern that they have that's keeping them trapped is what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. There's a weird confluence of this podcast, the content we've been making, and then these like different relationship transformations we've been all having.
And shout out to Tina Englert, who has been making transcripts for the episodes.
yeah.
And I know I said that I would. I know I said that I would have the website up by now, and I haven't. But I just want to put this out there that I really appreciate the work that she's doing, and it is going to end up on the website in the coming year. That's a project that I need to get done in January.
Is she doing those like one by one? Like each time a podcast comes out, she's going ahead and transcribing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's I haven't checked it in a while, but there's a folder where she's been dumping episodes. I mean, I don't think she did it for all the big ones. She did it for all the significant ones, or really popular ones, like the object relations. So I don't know if she's done every episode, but she has been transcribing the show. And I also bring her up because she had said something, gave some feedback on how incredible the podcast is in terms of us really, going through our own experiences and living the Enneagram, living inner work, and bringing others along. That's been really inspirational to see people who are actually confronting themselves and having to see that on the pod. You're not getting that anywhere. It's like people get a chance to not just encounter the accurate information, but actually see the Enneagram being lived.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal especially for people our age, because most people that are involved in Enneagram are like boomer age. To see like young-ish people or with a young mindset who aren't stiff, but who do care about inner development, and to take others along with that, it's a real big deal.
It is a big deal. And, in addition to that, there's a girl that I was working with a while ago. She's really young, and I think she reminds me so much of you, Alexandra, but she's only like 18. And I had mentioned the Enneagram, and she really wasn't interested. So I ordered John's book and had it sent to her house. And man, she has been on fire about this stuff. So, just it's modern and fresh.
Yeah.
And I think it appeals to more than just the boomer generation.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I do think a lot of the hope lies, and I can look at this like astrologically too, but like I do think a lot of hope lies with these like younger generations, with like ours and the one that follows. Is there is a lot of like openness to, first of all, what isn't working, and then a lot of openness to like what needs to be done in order to make it work. And like truly at a fundamental level, like there is like the societal sort of like political level, but I do think on a core personal and interpersonal level, there's a lot more attention on like what isn't working, what needs to happen. And yeah, hopefully we can, what's the word I'm looking for? Hopefully we can overthrow this sort of like evangelical virus that is taking over and keep things potent and serious.
It's already happening. It's just, it can be a little discouraging seeing just how fucking many, the numbers of Christians, like it's such a large, millions of people that are just finding out about the Enneagram through the road back to you. But I also think that things are going to change. Like there's going to be another wave of people that become interested in the Enneagram who aren't, tethered to religion, and are going to be looking for, some real ass people who are actually going through this stuff. And so, I mean, it feels like we're ahead of our time, and the Enneagram world is kind of like a bubble of some like really sheltered boomer perspectives or professional whatever. The Enneagram is going to blow up in a big way, and people that are outside of those bubbles, like the Christian bubble, the professional boomer bubble, are going to discover this stuff. And when that happens, we're really going to be the only ones that are doing it in a way that would be palatable to those kind of people.
My projects for this year, I have two, and one is to get married to my sweet little 9 marshmallow. And the other is to do a Nancy-centric podcast. So I know I mentioned in the last pod, but y'all need to send me, you listeners need to send me topics. Send me topics that you want me to talk about, and I'll talk about them.
Y'all have asked for Nancy, and now she's
I'm
asking
giving you Nancy. You better not reject me because I'm never coming back if you reject me now. Never happening.
Y'all asked for Nancy content, and here it is. So fucking let her know what you want.
Yeah, what do you want from Nancy? She's a triple
Yeah.
attachment 3. She will deliver.
I will give it to
She will
you.
deliver.
Oh, and she'll give you Bruno content.
It's just a Bravo content.
Bravo! Sorry, Bravo.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It starts with
Cute
a
fluffy
B.
dog.
Yeah.
I think for me, like next year, sort of stepping on the gas and doing more. People are going to want more video content. So if we can get to the point where we can actually record a video podcast and everyone's got like good sound, I think that'd be great. And just I have a couple ideas and things I would like to do in terms of producing, making the show more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot for attachment this year. There's still more. I feel like we're always going to be discovering more about attachment.
Make nines great again, babe.
You know?
I mean, again, we've always been great. We've been great to ourselves.
Right.
We just haven't been great.
What did you say?
He said we've been great to
Great again.
ourselves.
They've always been great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So in 2022, David, what do you want to do with your work?
Part of my problem in general with like finishing the book is self-pres stuff. So, and it's really, I mean, this is sort of a spiritual thing in a way where like needing to get past that sense that I can't start, or I mean, I've already started it. I've got fucking 500 pages, but I can't really finish out what I'm trying to do with the book until I've got a financial like underpinning, you know, because I was out of work or the work was shoddy and spotty for the last year and a half or whatever, and now I've got a steady gig, but now I've got to do that fucking steady gig, you know what I mean? And so I don't have the energy to be writing a book, and there's just a general thing with self-pres that I can't do the extra stuff until I've got like this massive nest egg of capital underpinning under me, and it's really difficult to get past that, and either that needs to be there in some way that's really obvious, or I need to get past that as a sort of like self-development thing where I need to get past that mindset and that reflex, because I mean, just like you, John, with your book, that's a part of your life's work. My book is obviously, and all of my ideas, it's obviously my life's work, and you guys know that. I mean, I've got new ideas that need to be out there, and they already are out there, but they need to be, you know, in a book form. And so, you know, that whole everything I just described is a big part of what needs to happen for me this coming year. You know, whichever direction that goes, whether it's kind of getting past it as a self-development thing around self-pres, or whether it's actually through things like basic financial stuff of like having a bunch of people, you know, in dark arts where we're making money and it's enough to have an actual salary, and then I can go finally breathe, because it feels like you can't breathe when you're self-pres, you know, and don't have that. So I need to know that that's there, or else I can't really turn to the book and just get that done. You know, a big part of this is just laying out the David Gray ecosystem. You know, you've got the elements related to the
laid out on me
instincts, and you've got the Bhava Chakra stuff, and some of my other, you know, ideas that, you know, a lot of our group is based in, and the development of where it would go, what you can do with that is maybe even a second book. It's partly I want that first book to just kind of lay out what the the whole baseline is for
Yeah.
and why it makes sense and why those connections that I'm making just really are resonant as symbols and so forth. So yeah.
Fucking toss me some shit and give me a little bit of sense of what you like want, expect, imagine, whatever. Like, I know you don't, as a like social blind 9, like don't always know where it's gonna go, but like,
Yeah.
give me a little something, and then I can go from there. Because like, as a social blind, I'm also kind of like, I don't know what the boundaries are, and so if I get a little bit of sense of what's needed or what boundaries are, then I can kind of take things in my own direction. And then you can say, "Oh, that's shit," or "That's what I want."
Yeah. Okay. No, I'll start doing that. Yeah.
You're gonna need some help on Blast. Is really what it's gonna come down to.
Yeah.
You know, like
I'll
Blast.
help Blast. I know how to Blast.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
David, in case you need to hear it, like people want your book.
Yeah.
People really want it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to hear your shit.
You know, everybody knows that you and John had a book in the works, and John's is out, and like people want both of yours separately because
Yeah.
you're such distinct flavors.
Right.
Like John has a very direct Blast style where you have more of like a genie magician,
Right.
you know, sort of like flowery style.
Yeah.
Both are very wanted and needed. So
Yeah.
don't lose sight of that either.
Yeah. No. I know that people want my stuff.
For 2022, Emeka,
What's up?
what are you wanting? What are you expecting? What are you hoping?
I think this year was kind of like, I guess it's seeing around the corner for me anyway. It's just seeing, I got to see around the corner and I don't feel like I've really gotten a chance to really step on the gas. And once the path is clear, then it's a matter of how do we really focus. And a lot of stuff has happened this year and we've produced a lot and we've realized a lot. And I just, at least it feels to me like we're just getting started. And so this next year is sort of like stepping fully into the path. We're creating all this stuff and I just want to get really better at it and realizing how little time I do have to do the things that I want has gotten me even more serious about my time. I mean, like I've got maybe like a couple years ago, I'd respond to these fucking random ass messages I get. I'm not responding. No, I'm not responding to you unless you obviously have something to add to the direction. So I feel like it's every year I'm just getting more and more serious about what we're doing here and the people that matter in my life, and can't predict exactly what's going to go down and what we're going to discover. But there is a certain level of focus that's intensifying, and I just want to build on that for 2022. There's just going to be more of what happened in 2021, and the only thing I want to be different is I just want to be more intentional about what I do with my time.
I'd love to see some Emeka originals.
Yeah.
Emeka original content.
Yeah.
After seeing you teach on the Shift Network, I mean, and you know, like not just that, but with this podcast and with the Dark Arts Academy, it's very clear you have the practical know-how to do whatever it is that you come up with.
Right. I've been knowing that I at some point I'm going to have to, just even doing these talks, I'm like, damn, I could generate a lot of shit on my own.
Yeah, you really could.
So I don't know what that's going to be.
A little blast in you, I think.
Yeah, you got
just
a little
bit.
blast in you.
Just a little bit. That's another thing that may happen in 2022. It's one of those things where it's like things happen in sequence for me. Like one thing leads to the next. You can't predict exactly when one thing will spur you to the next thing. We've been thinking about doing typing videos or videos about typing for years, and then it just took the right influence to like, oh wow, yeah, everything snaps into place, and it's like now we're gonna do it. And so I've known that I'm gonna produce my own content for years, but it's like it's not something you rush, and when the right thing comes along, you'll know it. And so maybe that'll happen in this next year. But I think I'm building up to that. You know, building the studio, getting ready for video content, getting comfortable with the podcast, getting comfortable doing video stuff. There's going to be a point where I'm going to release, video content that I'm going to be completely comfortable with. I already know that I can talk my ass off, but there is a production aspect of things that I know that I'm building up to something. I can't tell you what it is, but it is going to happen.
Good. I'd love to. I still don't feel super confident about like my astrology skills, but I would like to come on and
Yeah, you should.
tell you guys
I
what's
love
up.
that. I love that. Alexandra has been learning so much about astrology, and like no one else can apply the deep level of Enneagram knowledge that she has to astrology and seeing the links together.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to encourage her to own that shit.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll look at the 4 of yours, and then I'll look at all of your composite and compatibility charts and stuff like that, and see.
Yeah, let's do that episode soon of the
Yeah, I'm
compatibility
really
one because that would be
interested in
fun.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun. Yeah, I think it could be fun to see you guys do more dumb social things.
Yeah.
You know, that
On some, like-
episode with you and Joseph, the more recent one, to me that was one of the best episodes. It was like
It was one of the best episodes. Yeah.
it's like holy shit, actual conversation.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
People love that episode.
Oh yeah, I listened to it literally like 3 times.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess we're not so repugnant after all.
No.
No, you're
Been a
still
little.
no. Yeah.
All right, fine. It's a work in progress.
Okay, yeah.
It's when it's one episode out of 100 or one episode, then it's okay. But any more than that, we can't do.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
yeah.
Well, we get these little social types on more.
Yeah.
Just talk social stuff.
Too much dumb chit chat.
It's easy to underestimate the social aspect of this whole deal of people just wanting to see us talk on a weekly basis. It's still kind of like, really? People like that shit? They want to see us talk about everything? So, like
Yes.
companion stuff where maybe we were like did a live stream, we were watching a TV show and we were commenting on it. People would
I
love
want
it.
to do more of that shit.
You know?
Totally,
Yeah,
totally
people
that, or
would eat
even
it
just
up.
responding to like social happenings or whatever. Like this is a bad example, and you totally don't have to do this. But I watched some like astrology thing on Megan Fox and MGK, like stuff like that, like dumb stuff. Like on the Christmas episode you guys did, you responded to what's her face's super embarrassing like meltdown. Like stuff like that I think would be really attractive to specifically like anything with social in the stacking.
True.
Or we
Yeah.
could discuss Pete Davidson, how he gets every
Yes.
single woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys should do
Every
a
single
typing-
woman dates Pete Davidson.
Exactly. Yeah, there was an astrology account that I follow. There was one on Pete Davidson and Kim K. So you guys doing like the Enneagram version of that would be really
Yeah.
People would eat
would
it
be
up.
really relevant and like very socially relevant that I think would bring a lot of attention.
And also, I mean, people do want to hear us 4 with a 3 fixers just be bitchy and catty.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
people do want to hear that. As little as I want to hear it, other people want to hear it.
Everyone here. And it's like open invitation for you guys to just be like all 4 of you to just be like hateful bitches on
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be amazing. People would love it.
Whereas
Yeah, people would
my
eat it
very
up.
balanced and mature
Yes.
with 5 wing
Yes.
fix.
Do people want it?
Does the public want this?
Is it sellable?
They want it.
But no, that's a great idea. Just doing more social, talking about current events and pop culture bullshit. We should do more of that stuff. I forget that's an option for topics.
I mean,
Social blind.
Yeah.
I could be your social lackey and just throw it at you guys. Like, hey,
Yeah.
do this week.
No, you got to push it because we literally are social blind.
I feel like some kind of like live stream or Twitch or
Yeah.
some kind of thing would be really
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. And I mean, like, there's such a wide breadth of content for you guys to cover.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you guys obviously lean intellectual and lean theoretical and lean, like, really informative, which is really great. So I think, like, something that could, I don't know, widen that. And again, this is, like, social nonsense, but I do think it is beneficial, is, like, the application of it in the social space.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
right.
like, okay, now we know the information. And I think that's what Dark Arts is doing.
Right.
Like, you guys have most of the people that watch the Dark Arts Academy videos also listen to the podcast. So they're
Right.
getting like the lessons and then they're watching the application of it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's how you learn the Enneagram is you apply it to your own life and you apply it to famous people that you're aware of and typing them or theorizing about what their motivations are.
Mhm.
So bringing
Plus-
people along with that in that journey, I think would be really helpful.
Plus, it's experiential, and that's a big part of the
Yes.
Enneagram. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you guys are fun and you're funny. And like I think like Nancy has social middle, but still none of you are social dominant. And so there is still a sort of like pseudo blind spot of like you guys don't know how likable you are as a collective group.
True.
Yeah, we have
And
no
so
idea.
like having this like very niche charm that like absolutely is not anywhere else. Like everybody's so postured and appropriate. So to have this sort of like nitty gritty authenticity, like all of you are influenced, sort of like bitchy vibe, like commenting on a bunch of social applications, I think could be really like there's a gold mine there.
Yeah.
And you're all funny, like especially when you shit on things collectively. It's hilarious. Everybody loves it. And even if people don't love it, it's polarizing and provocative, and then more people
True.
come to it.
What I know from being behind the scenes with so many different Enneagram teachers and
All of them are
whatever.
shits.
Sorry?
I said all of them are shits.
There's so much phoniness and so much
Yeah.
like public buy-in of a persona, and then behind the scenes it's all like fucking narcissism and pettiness and whatever. It's all bullshit. Like don't ever buy into somebody's public whatever.
Yeah.
And so like you can be really serious about inner work, and you don't have to have the public persona of being, like I do think there's something about representing the work, obviously.
Sure.
But to pretend that you're not human anymore
Yeah.
is actually a disservice to the work. It's a disservice to someone learning the work themselves.
It's really the
And-
same as sort of the Christian community where you put
Right.
on an act around being already there spiritually or some
Exactly.
shit. Yeah.
Like OD tells me that he, till this day, every month still gets at least one person who heard the 2 episodes he was on who ordered a session with him.
That's
And so I sometimes forget like how influential this show is because, I mean, the truth is, where else are you going to fucking go meet some people like us that are doing a podcast? Like, that care so much about this stuff, but are also like human beings that are just being themselves, living the Enneagram. Yeah, it's if I were new to the Enneagram and I found this podcast or Enneagrammer, I would feel like the luckiest person alive.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about that. I mean, just like how barren the Enneagram space is. And looking around and how fucking lame it is and how inaccurate it is to find a group of like interesting people who really give a fuck on a serious level about this stuff. You would feel incredibly lucky.
If it wasn't for David stomping around the 5 group, being an asshole to everyone, I would have been lost in Millenniagram, Ian Crone, Suzanne Stabile podcast world, just essentially coming to the conclusion of a BuzzFeed quiz and then moving along with my life.
So I want to thank David for bringing true love into my life by being a bully.
By being a
Well.
provocative warrior cast 9.
Thank you very much.
Fellow warrior cat.
Yes.
No, but
and
for real,
that's
I
why
feel
I'm
like-
going to be the officiating at the wedding, right?
You are.
That's right.
That's true. In Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Oh my god, that's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
Imagine me as the priest.
Have creepy self-pres sexual
Creepy.
9 priest.
Put on
The true magician.
Just hitting on the bridesmaids. Let's do it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
God.
Okay, now you got me the invitation right there. Okay.
To your point, Emeka, of like a lot of people like to be the luckiest person. You got to go through a lot of shit sometimes to see how lucky you are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Sure.
like this podcast is great. This is gonna like I hate everything, and I listen to our podcast. I'm like, this is good shit.
Yeah.
And like
Totally.
under most circumstances, I would hate any podcast I was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
I would not promote my own podcast. No way in hell.
Right, but like this is a great podcast. I learn a lot. We all learn a lot, and yeah, like hopefully, people who have come here without a lot of bullshit, like not to be like, oh, you should really appreciate what you got, but to kind of like to sort of see the mountains of bullshit that have come before this.
Yeah.
Is not a small thing, and how much bullshit there is still left is a really big deal. And so, yeah, this is great that all this stuff is free, and it's like, on the backs of years and years and years and years of working with this stuff. If the planet melts down and there's not an opportunity to like capitalize in a certain way, it's like at least this stuff is out there, and it's not beholden to fucking the major schools of certification.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Part of what motivates like doing this stuff is like just, man, I really wish something like this existed when I was learning the Enneagram. Like you're looking around, it's like, man, it's like, how many fucking years did I have to slug through garbage to just because I was trying to understand as much as I could, but I couldn't because there was so much garbage I had to get through. You were new to the Enneagram and you came across our stuff, like how much time you would save and how much more progress you could make. And so no, it feels really important because I know that, I mean, look around, like there's no one really producing interesting, accurate Enneagram stuff. Even like putting out these episodes, it's like I know that people are going to be listening to this for a long time. I know I would be, if I was into the Enneagram, so it's important.
Yeah.
So anything else?
I think that's it. I got a lot to listen to and edit.
Joy. You're welcome.
But no, it's been a great year, guys. This has been.
It has been.
Yeah.
Even greater than the first year. We've made some strides. Huge transformations. Hopefully next year is not as intense. We can take a break and just like process all the shit that we just went through. But I mean, who knows, man? I'm just glad to be doing this with y'all.
All right, well, it's almost midnight, so we should probably get off.
Yeah.
But this has been good.
And Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody out there who's been listening and supporting this show, and will continue to support this show in 2022. Thank you to everybody who's helped in any shape or form to make this show possible. We appreciate you. Even those who listen to this show, we appreciate you as well. Your hatred is nourishment to us.
It is. Thank you for teaching our ideas later on. Like when people come to our podcast, they realize it was us.
Yeah,
shout
we
out to that
appreciate
Discord
it.
chat.
Wink, wink, hint, hint.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I love you guys.
Happy
Yeah,
New
love
Year.
you
I love you
I
guys.
actually love you.
All of you.
Yes.
Actually love.
We should. This
Love
will be
you
a
guys.
separate thing, but we should try to get together for New Year's next year.
I
Yeah.
would love that. You should come to Amsterdam.
That'd be so cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam for New Year's.
Drugs
Would
and
be
chicks.
Lit.
Drugs
and
and
gay
chicks.
people.
That's
Lots
right.
of gay
Chicks for
people.
David.
Yeah, just big hormone orgy.
Yeah.
What has happened to me that I just volunteered that?
Yeah.
I'm working
You've
on
been
her blind spot,
infected.
folks. Been helping out her blind spot.
How did that come from Alexander?
Okay.
She's been doing the work. You know what I'm saying?
Deep inner
With
work.
a capital W.
Inner work. That's true.
Night, guys.
We're gonna do some inner work. So,
Yeah.
good night, my friends. I love you.
All right.
I love
Good
you
night,
too.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.